Hi, my name is Anita Rashidi, and for my field trip, I chose to make a trip to both North and South Lake Tahoe. My family has a place that we stay in North Lake, so we frequent the area often. This trip, however, I focused a lot more on the environmental and ecological features of this amazing area, and it is absolutely insane to see how much more I've learned by doing so. First, I'd like to talk about water clarity in Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is actually known as one of the most oligotrophic lakes in the world. Every time I go there, I can always see the bottom of the lake from where I'm at, even in some of the most deepest segments of the water. Sadly, as with most things humans touch, the lake is losing its clarity as time passes. Since the 1970s, the Keep Tahoe Blue cause has been around, but still, there are issues associated with keeping it that way. First of all, pollution, such as littering by tourists, tends to cause buildup in the lake. One particular feature that I noticed on my trip was that when people applied sunscreen and did not wait for it to dry, it tended to cause a film to appear in the lake. This, I can only imagine, adds to the buildup that messes with lake clarity. Another issue tends to be water runoff in the town. Sediment is collected by rain or snow melt, and it typically runs into the lake. This extra sediment also has an adversary effect on the lake's clarity. Continuing onward, I'd like to talk about invasive species. Invasive species, as suggested by the negative connotation of invasive, are very bad for the lake. These species tend to completely change the food webs of lake ecosystems and can even damage native species. I learned that boats that go into Lake Tahoe have to undergo various measures to even be allowed into the lake. While these measures seem very unnecessary, they are extremely important to the lake's well-being. Lake Tahoe has actually had a large issue with Asian clams. These clams that come in attached to boats have both created competition with native lake species and messed up the clarity of the lake even further. Climate change has also had its negative effects upon Lake Tahoe. If you notice in the background of this slide, there are a ton of little rocks bordering the lake's shoreline. A couple years ago, when my family visited this area, around the same time of year, the line of rocks was covered with water. There has been so little snow in the past year that lake levels have been lowered. To add to that, the lake has been getting warmer at a higher rate than ever before. This change in temperature has altered weather patterns, which also messes with plant growth and animal lifestyles. One native species to the area are golden-mantled ground squirrels. For years, visiting Lake Tahoe, I have mistaken these creatures to be chipmunks. Although they are very similar, these ground squirrels lack striped patterns on their faces that chipmunks usually have. We found a lot of them to be by the recreation tables, because unfortunately, a lot of people feed them. We actually had to hide food from them because they would climb up the tables and attempt to steal from us. They didn't seem too afraid of humans, since I almost ended up stepping on them countless times. On this trip, I also noticed that the sky was extremely hazy. As seen in this picture, there is not a touch of blue in the sky, but it was not overcast at all. Ironically, some of the trees in the image are burnt, but this wasn't where the main fire was taking place. The haze was largely due to the Tamarack fire taking place near Tahoe. This fire is not even halfway contained, and its smoke has covered the entirety of the area, from south to north. Hopefully, it'll be contained soon. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.